Uncomfortable Conversations, episode 3, featuring my man Donovan. Yo,
I'm here.
Introduce yourself, please.
I'm here. Donovan, Big D, whatever you want to call me, I'm here to talk about uncomfortable conversations because I like uncomfortable conversations because I feel very comfortable talking about them.
Okay.
I started something called Heart of a Man. I don't like going into details about that as much, but overcome, elevate, inspire, helping men to understand themselves a lot more, to be confident, hopeful, and optimistic about their future. See vulnerability. See, I always mess up that word too. Vulnerability is a sign of strength, not weakness. Let's talk, man.
Straight up. That's it. That's all you need to know. Heart of a Man, Donovan. So, today we're talking about a theme, a topic that I really wanted to get into with you. And it's called Who Raised You? And it's called that because, I think today, if in this city, you see a guy misbehaving or just acting out of line.
Yeah.
You say, whose man's? Whose man's is this, right? So I'm just thinking along the same lines, right? When we see sort of that upbringing in the men around us, in ourselves even, and how maybe that leads to some certain unhealthy behaviors or things we just know that we shouldn't be doing. You might just ask yourself, whose man's? Actually, whose man's am I? Who raised me, fam? That is the topic for today. And I know you're a father.
Mm-hmm.
You're a son.
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen both sides of the raising.
Yes, I have.
And I've only seen one side. So I want to learn from you today. I want to really hear about your experiences as a black father, as a black son.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, I'm sure everyone is looking forward to this conversation as I am. But I do want to ask this one question to start. You think about your upbringing so far. What are some of the ways that talk about your upbringing? Let's do that.
My upbringing.
Yeah.
There's 100 things about my upbringing. It's funny you say that though, because I sit down and I think about my upbringing. Especially a few years ago, I was going through a really tough time, and I lost my mother to cancer. But I thought about the relationship we had, and there was some regret. But there was also, I felt that tinkling of this happiness and peace of the lessons she taught me. But I was not a good kid.
Okay.
All right. I was spoiled. I was very dishonest with her. And I took advantage of my mom. And she taught me some lessons, though, on how to be honest, how to be kind and compassionate. So those lessons are now, that seed that was planted is becoming a tree inside of me. So that's what I'm able to share. But I was a bad kid. I remember I had an altercation with my mother where I swore at her, get the F away from me, man. Get the F away from me. And she called the cops on me. And that was what broke my heart because Mom, I'm the one you used to spoil. I'm the one you took care of all the time. Come on, you shouldn't call the cops on me, but she did. She got tired of it. People get tired of it. She had a heart, but I feel like I broke her heart by swearing at her and disrespecting her and disrespecting my sister. Well, so two amazing black women, my sister, my mother, I just felt like I'm going to treat them how I want to treat them. And I treated them like that because of, one, the music I was listening to.
Okay. I'm
listening to 50 Cent, right? 50 was my dude. How to be, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to ask her 21 questions. I was just going to just straight up say, this is what I want. If you don't like that, too bad. So because my mother also spoiled me, because I was treating her like that, I brought that to my other relationships too. But there's some regret that's still in my heart, and my mother has passed. And while we're here, I want to just say, Mom, I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for the words I used. Sorry if I broke your heart. I know the last day she passed, she said, promise me you're going to come to heaven. I told her, I said, Mom, don't you want me to become rich? Don't you want me to become a successful black man? She said, no, I just want you to come to heaven, right? And I was like, okay. But when she planted that seed in my mind, it stayed there and it's still here. And that's why I'm here, man. That's why I'm here.
Yo, there's so much you said, and as you were talking, I was like, I want to touch on that. I want to
touch on whatever you got to touch on. That's all good, man.
So one of the first few things you mentioned was your mom loved you, she spoiled you, and you sort of took advantage of that.
I did.
In the first episode that we shot, Safe Spaces, we talked about how guys feel like you can walk into any place and not feel threatened, right? Like the way a black woman or any woman might even enter a space and have to worry about physical safety, emotional safety, who's watching out for me. But as a guy, you walk in, you own that. You have that confidence, right? Like, and that level of comfort, it's like when you think about our upbringing, how we socialize to that level of comfort, right? Like you sort of answered that question a little bit, because then you talked about accountability. Your mom called the cops.
Yeah, she did.
But you didn't really react well to that.
No, I did not.
Right?
No.
So let me ask this question: how are you socializing to this level of comfort, and how are you taught not to understand accountability?
So that's a deep question right there, because I wasn't taught that though. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn that myself, really and truly. I was a stubborn little brat. That's what they call it, stubborn little brat, right? I wasn't accountable to anyone. I wanted things my way. It's either my way or the highway. I was just like, listen, do it like this, or don't do it at all. You know, I was an angry little boy. My mom used to always give me what I wanted. So I was kind of confused. Like, if I'm getting everything from you, I better get everything from everyone else, every woman, every black woman. Wow. So I wasn't really accountable to my mother, right? I just really and truly wanted things my way. I don't know if I'm answering your question is right, but
you are, man.
When I talk, sometimes I just spit what I want to spit. So if everyone's listening to this right now, I was a spoiled brat. I wasn't accountable. I was not respectful, right? I didn't even know how to respect. If I didn't know how to respect my mother growing up as much, how was I going to respect my wife at the time? How was I going to respect other black women? I didn't know how to do that. So what I took from my mother, the way I treated my mother is the way I treated other women too. I can say that loud and clear now.
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't able to, I had to unlearn over time what I learned. And I learned that from myself. I learned that from the music I listened to. So it was confusing, but that's how I thought I should live my life. Get things the way I wanted them. Be dependent, because there's dependent, there's independent, there's interdependent. Right? I say interdependent because I read a book by Stephen Covey, right? And interdependent is something I didn't even learn until I read that book. I just was a dependent man, and I could say loud and clear, I depended on my mother. So when you depend on your mother, you're gonna depend on other women. If they don't give you that, what's gonna happen? You gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go. That's how it is. So it's been a journey with that. I live with a lot of guilt in my heart because of that too. The way I used to treat my mom, and that's it.
There's a couple emotions that are like sitting at the top for me right now: confusion, guilt. Confusion initially, you said that, and you said it again. Confused as to why is this happening to me? Why are you checking my behavior? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm being disrespectful, but this is the world that I live in, and I own it. So, like, what is this backlash for? But then that now looks like guilt once you've gone through that process of like unlearning and that painful uprooting of those behaviors. Like, that's something that I know I've experienced, still experiencing, and there's this thing called the repetition compulsion, or the repetitive compulsion, something like that. But psychologically, it means that you're trying to heal trauma from one relationship in every relationship that looks like that.
Come on, man,
bro. I wrote a paper on this.
That's good. I gotta see that.
I wrote.
You gotta put a paper out,
bro. That reflecting on that in my life was a painful exercise, and my professor must have been a dick, because he's like, I want you guys to be very honest, and I was like, you're reading all of this?
Yep.
But yeah, it's I would say I like my mom and I's relationship is very interesting, right? Like, she's very hands-on. I would say that, and I'm the kind of person that likes my space. So sometimes we clash when I'm just like, yo, just let me do me. But then I found that in certain relationships, I was looking for that hands-on, even though I didn't want it, because it reflected the relationship with my mother. But then I would act out every time the girls were hands-on, and I'm just like, and they're probably like, "Why are you dating me? This is how I am, but you don't want it." And in my mind, I'm just like, "Can you just leave me alone?" It got to the point where I'm like, "Well, you put yourself here, right? Like you're repeating that process, that behavior, that pattern, and you think you can fix it, but
it ain't that easy.
No,
it's not that easy. I mean, the way my mother treated me, the way she raised me and spoiled me, I wanted women exactly like that. But I mean, subconsciously, I realized I was seeking women that were going to treat me like how my mother treated me. But it never worked out because we'd always butt heads, right? And even the ones that didn't treat me like that, I was like, this is weird. Yeah. I can't be around this. I gotta run. I can't be with you. So I was really confused. My mind was really cloudy for a long time with that. I'm like, so if a woman treats me like my mom, I'm gonna just feel like, okay, this is weird also. But if a woman treats me not like my mother,
this is also weird.
This is weird. So where do I go? And that's why I had to start reading books, because knowledge is power. You have to keep your knowledge reservoirs full. I use it all the time. I say that all the time. I had to unlearn what I learned and gain new knowledge, right? I had to see a therapist about these things. Because after my mother passed, that's the first time I ever went to see a therapist. And the things I had to tell him, I had to start, made me cry, made me get angry, made me understand certain things, right? But I was able to now have the courage to be here talking to you about this. So it's been a battle, but I'm here to just understand myself, man. I'm here to speak the truth, understand, so we can send love to a lot of women out there too.
Yeah. A lot of men, a lot of women.
A lot of men, a lot of women, you know? Heart of a man, heart of women.
Actually. Like, so we're touching on women now, right? Like, and I'm thinking about some of these behaviors that we talk about in our relationships. And Folarin and I were speaking about this, about how we feel guys are praised or like rewarded for some of these behaviors. And maybe that feeds into the lack of understanding of what accountability is. But women are not giving that leeway to take space, to be entitled, to like, you know, if a woman is going from relationship to relationship with different guys and she's thinking about, this guy reminds me of my dad, it's automatically called daddy issues, right? Like, and then that's a negative label you place on a woman.
Yes. But
has everyone ever said you have mommy issues?
They did. Who? I think maybe a woman and a psychologist told me that.
Okay.
A woman I dated.
Okay.
A woman I dated said I do have mommy issues, and I ran like Usain Bolt. I sprinted away. I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was telling the truth. I couldn't accept the truth, so I had to run. I was like, "Nah, whatever." But and a psychologist, when I was speaking to her and telling her, you know, this is what's going on after losing my mother, she's like, "You had some serious mommy issues, huh?" You had some mommy issues. Like, I got angry. I was like, "What are you talking about, mommy issues?" See, the thing is, I couldn't accept it for a long time. You know, I couldn't accept it. So being told that stuff pissed me off, man. I still feel a little bit angry talking about it. To this day, I feel angry talking about that stuff. But it's the truth. And the truth will set you free, right?
Kick your ass first.
It's going to kick your ass. It's going to kick your ass first, but it's going to set you free too. Like, you know, I cry, and I have a picture on the wall of like my mother, and it's almost like I hear her telling me things sometimes. Like, keep going, don't worry, you know. And also, I forgive you too. You know, my son, I forgive you. I know you've done a lot of things, but before she died, when she said I was her favorite, I was like, how was I your favorite when I treated you so bad? I took advantage of you. You know, how was I your favorite? Because she didn't have conditional love; she had unconditional love. You see, she loved me unconditionally, even though I treated her like disrespect. She still loved me. That's how I have to see women nowadays. I have to really treat them like how my mother treated me, in a way. Give them unconditional love, which is not going to be easy, man. It's not easy.
So. I want to sort of argue that.
Argue, man.
I saw, I think, a tweet about this where it's like, you know, we're raised to want unconditional love from my partner. Like, you love me regardless of my flaws and things like that. And
Okay.
like, that's like, I think that's a good thing to want
Mhm.
because no one is perfect.
Mhm.
What do you think about if we think about conditional love as I can love you, I do love you, but there's certain things about myself I can't let you disrespect. Like, there's like I have my boundaries. I'm working on myself. I'm setting up these things,
Yeah.
and again, I might love you, but it's conditional on you or me returning that love and us building a life or whatever that looks like. Is conditional on you respecting who I am as an individual.
Okay. Okay.
What do you like? I want to get your thoughts on that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I believe in God.
Mhm.
He loves us unconditionally, but we can't disrespect him for too long, right?
Okay.
We can't just do whatever we want to do
Okay.
and say you love me unconditionally, so I'm gonna live my life however I want to live my life, and you're gonna love me unconditionally regardless. No. There comes you gotta pay the price. You know, he will discipline you and still love you though. So it's like in a relationship too. I mean, you could love someone unconditionally but still demand respect.
Right.
Like, you're not gonna call me stupid. You're not gonna disrespect me and be verbally abusive. You know, I'm not gonna get yell and get in your face and be physical with you. But I'm gonna tell you, you gotta respect me. You know, and if I love you, you know, and it keeps. Even if I love you, I'm not saying unconditional love means take disrespect nonstop and just stay with the person.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though, you gotta forgive, but sometimes you have to let go too.
Let go in what sense?
Let go meaning end the relationship if you have to.
Okay.
Sometimes you gotta walk away and say, you know what? I'm still gonna love you, but this is not good. Verbal abuse is not something that is going to be in my life. I'm sorry. I have to go. And once you respect yourself and you love yourself also too, you're not gonna tolerate that, man. Unconditional love is a beautiful thing, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna take everything. You're gonna take people saying you're stupid, you're dumb, you're all these things, you're a loser, and just take it and say, you know what? Okay, you know, I love you.
Right.
So I don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No. Come on, man. You gotta keep it as it is.
It's also a misunderstanding of love too, because like I think we've painted this idea that like love is this docile, accepting, all accepting, not just accepting, all accepting, which is what you're saying. Like, you don't need to accept that, right?
No.
And if you have pure love for self, you won't, right? Because pure love for self also means that like I can't let you abuse me if I claim to love you. You know, if I claim to, what is you abusing me? What does that do for your soul?
Come on, man. Drop
Right?
it. There you
You know
go.
what I mean?
There you go. There you go.
So we misunderstand like what that love is. And I think it's just what we've done with love, right? In my opinion, we've painted it as this romantic thing that is just really
It's like the Titanic. It's like, you know, loving basketball. I'll play you for your heart. All that stuff like that. There's movies, there's fairy tale love, and there's real life love, man. Yeah. You know, I've had a lot of real life love. Yes, it's gonna feel good. There's the honeymoon phase. It's gonna feel good, man. You're gonna hold hands, you know, watch movies, cuddle, you know what I'm saying, kiss, and feel like, ooh, baby, you're mine. 2 years from now, let's see if that's gonna.
Let's see if it's the same.
That's not gonna be the same. Sometimes, you know, you meet the right woman, and it can be the same if it's really you guys build a bond, but sometimes that disappears. And I've been in relationships where it's like, yo, mad love in the beginning, and eventually, don't look at me. Don't touch me.
When it disappears, so I'm trying to answer this too, so I definitely don't really answer this, but it's like it disappears. It went somewhere. Like, where did it go? And it's like, and how do you catch it before
bring it back?
Yeah, like before it doesn't, you know, because it's the romantic piece, the touchy-feely piece. That doesn't have to just be the honeymoon phase. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't have to be constant either. So it can be the first 6 months of your relationship is super like this, and then you go through what's an adjustment or growth period where you understand each other deeper, and then you might get another honeymoon style phase, you know. I at least in my previous relationship, it's been that we've gone through one of those, a growth phase, another one of those, and then you can't get out again, right? You're stuck in the misunderstanding phase to get back to the. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of like a cycle that you just are not able to complete. That's how I
But that doesn't sound like a bad thing to me. Like, because if we meet, we're happy, honeymoon, then we learn stuff about each other, and at that point in time, we're like, yo, we need to work on this, right? Like communication, all these kind of things, and then we become a little closer because now I know you better. So honeymoon phase again, and then maybe we hit another thing, work on it, communication, honeymoon phase, and like that's I don't know if I'm saying exactly what you were saying.
You are. I guess then becomes a problem.
Okay, guys, listen, man.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I might be older than you guys. Okay, I don't know if you guys have been married or I don't know if you guys have been engaged. I've been married. I've been engaged. The world could know. Okay. Sometimes we feel like we've met our dream woman. Okay, but I'm going to tell you right now, the honeymoon phase sometimes can die and die for good. Okay? I have a 11-year-old son, and when I met his mother, I was like, woo, this feels good, man. I had my son, and I was with her for about maybe 6 years. There was no honeymoon ever again. Maybe a day, what's up, girl? I love you, girl. I love you too. Get out my face, right? Sometimes the honeymoon phase dies. That's how it is sometimes. Especially if you're married, all the married men out there, if you're watching this, I know how you feel, man. If you're going to sign the papers for divorce right now, I know how you feel. You wanted the honeymoon phase to come back, but it didn't come back. You got to be ready for that too. That's why you have to learn effective communication. You guys have to learn effective communication, because if you learn that, knowledge is powerful. When you gain that in your mind and you can communicate effectively, even when the fights, the hard times, things get dry, you guys could still pick up and say, you know what, let's do this together. Let's march forward together. It's going to take a lot of work, man. You have to learn things. You're not going to watch Titanic and beautiful love movies and think everything's going to be all right. It's not like that. You know what I mean? Do I think God has a woman for me in my life coming that he feels like this is for you? It's not going to be easy, yes. But that's all I got to say, man. You got to learn effective communication. The honeymoon phase can die for good. And you got to be ready for that, though. See what I'm saying? Because you're going to bring it back up. I mean, I was in a relationship with a woman and, okay, I guess I can talk about it now. I was actually engaged to someone and I was going through a tough time. I was going through a really tough time. So I said, I'm going to take a leave of absence on my work. I work in a bank in Montreal. And I remember one day she yelled at me. And I was like, oh, she goes, "You're on disability," in my face. And I'm like, as a man, when you hear that, like the L word, the loser word, you're just this. What does that do to your spirit? You know what I'm saying? It just breaks our spirits. We're just finished, and we could still maybe be in a relationship physically, but here we're gone. We leave, right? And sometimes we don't even know it. They don't know what's going on with us after. They're like, so different, yeah. Come on.
It's kind of scary, and four of us here, I feel like have experiences of that, and again, maybe it comes down to the financial piece, but being called a loser, or I don't know what to call it, maybe your earning power, or whatever the case is, your ability to provide in that situation, knowing that you're not really hitting it, and someone calling you a loser, or attacking you because of it, it's like you're taking a sword and going straight through my identity, you understand that this is how I view myself, whether or not that's a good thing, right? Like, this is how it is. It's like me looking at a black woman who has been socialized to be a caring, present mother, and I look and say you're a terrible mother just because something happened with the kids. Maybe the kids are misbehaving, they're not listening to you, they're not doing well in school, they're acting up, whatever. And I just come back and I say, you're a terrible mother. Look at your kids. Because I know that's tied to your identity, right? And trust me, fam, when women say that stuff to you, they know. They know. I know how to crush this man. Because I could say, bro, I could have said anything else, but I'm looking at you. I know work isn't going too well.
You see?
I'm ready. I'm ready for this guy. You see? Say something.
Okay,
sir.
So let me.
Come on, man.
I might kill the laughter right now, but tell me, why do you think that men are 3 to 4 times more likely to commit suicide.
Yo, because you said it. You're walking around that like they don't know stuff has changed with you, and you're holding it, and that like again that identity piece. Like you're feeling like you're like, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
But like I'm more than this, but like people are saying I'm not because I failed in this aspect or I didn't do what I was supposed to do, and you don't feel like you have anything else to contribute. Like, so like, why else am I here?